The writer's father was in army and therefore postings came with predictable regularity every 3 years. When the writer was 13, they moved to the cantonment at Allahabad. Their bungalow was very big. When first time they saw it, the writer's brothers and she was very delighted. Within a fortnight they all settled there. The bungalow was surrounded by an acre and a half of land. Her brothers, Neil and Akhil, and their 2-year-old Labrador, Rex, were used to play together. This bungalow was like a paradise, densely packed as it was with bamboo thickest, bougainvillea, jasmine and wild rose bushes. Enough space to play hide and seek, cricket, 7 stones and other noisy games. In one summer evening, they all were playing cricket. It was the writer's turn to field. Their dog Rex loved fielding because it gave him the chance to nose around in the undergrowth. The ball soared, Rex barked and raced after it. They all heard him crashing through the bushes. The writer went after the missing ball and found the ball all right. But there was no sign of Rex. Suddenly, the writer saw him. But there was someone to whom Rex offered a friendly paw. The writer shouted, "Rex, come here." There was a movement in the bushes. The writer thought it was a boy having golden curly hair. But her brothers told her that there was no such boy. About a fortnight later one evening, when she was lying on the grass engrossed in finishing a library book, she noticed that Rex was off. She followed him. This time, she saw the boy clearly. He was bending over the dog, gently stroking his head. She asked, "Who are you? Leave the dog alone." The boy gazed steadily at her, but did not say anything. Next time, in month of August, when the parents of writer had gone out, they all were playing carom. Rex whined he wanted to go out. Neil opened the door for him. Rex slipped out into the drizzle. A good 15 minutes must have passed when we heard Rex bark. The sound came from the passage that led to the house. The barking stopped. Suddenly, the writer became aware of the fact that there was one more person in the room, the same boy. He was standing at the door and looking at her with a strange urgency. He seemed to say, "Come, please come." The writer stood up quickly and said, "Rex is in danger." They peered out of the net door that opened into the long passage leading to the kitchen. Rex was staring fixedly at something just outside the door. A slight swaying movement caught her eyes, a slow, savage hiss. A black hooded head raced to attack. Her blood turned cold. It was a cobra. She backed off slowly. She prayed that Rex would not make any sudden move. The cobra would lash out in swift, sure revenge. The next day, masons came to seal the hole through which the cobra had slid in, and men in gumboots armed with scythes and grass-cutting swords cleaned up the compound, and what had lain hidden for years surfaced. They all discovered that someone had laid out a badminton court many years ago, and they discovered a grave. They all identified the words with their fingers, Robin and Alex. Robin, the bravest Labrador who died of cobra bite while trying to save his master Alex, a loyal and true friend till the end. May 1920. Rapid reading section. Now read the passage and answer the questions. One of the advantages of growing up in an army household was the frequency with which we moved. Postings came with predictable regularity every 3 years. What was unpredictable and therefore exciting was the suspense. Where would we go this time? Ambala, Pune, Dehradun, Allahabad, Tejpur, Bangalore? Yo! In my short span of 13 years, we had moved lock, stock and barrel 11 times. Every move meant change. New journeys, new places, new schools, my new books, new uniforms, new friends and new house. We lived in tents, bashas, nascent huts, flats and bungalows. No matter what the shape and size of the dwelling, mother soon put her own special stamp on it and transformed it into a familiar place, our home, complete with bright yellow curtains, coffee brown carpet, assorted pictures, hanging ferns and potted palms, providing a comforting sense of continuity in our essentially nomadic life. I was 13 the year we moved to the cantonment at Allahabad. In stark contrast to the razzle-dazzle of the city's commercial areas like Katra and Chowk, the cantonment was a quiet, orderly place with broad, tree-lined roads that still carried the names of long-dead Britishers. Our bungalow was on a sleepy by-lane called Macpherson Road. When we first saw it, my brothers and I were delighted. It was by far the biggest house we had ever lived in. Now complete the following. Growing up in an army household, the writer lived ... A nomadic life. Mother usually put up ... curtains in every new house. Bright yellow. Why did every move mean a change to the writer? Every move in the writer's life involved new journeys, new places, new schools, new books, new uniforms, new friends and new houses. The writer had lived in every kind of dwelling place imaginable, and therefore every move meant a change to the writer. Next, which would you prefer, staying in one place all your life or moving from place to place frequently? Give your reasons. I would prefer to stay in one place throughout my life. When we stay at one place only, all the surrounding becomes familiar to us. Also, the school remains the same, the friends remain the same, and you can have a close friendship with the classmates. In school, there is always a group of friends which never allowed to enter somebody else from other group. And so, if you change your school every year or maybe after 2 or 3 years, then it becomes difficult for you to get a close friend. So you cannot exchange or share your ideas about playing or maybe about studies. And therefore, I think staying at one place is always preferable for me. Rapid reading 2. The Doctor's Word. Dr. Raman was a very good doctor. He was not a mere doctor expressing an opinion, but a judge pronouncing a verdict. That is, a decision that is made by a jury in the court of law. He never withdrew till he wrested the prize from Yama's hands. Today, on the bed lay his dearest friend in the world, Gopal. It was a classic friendship which endured untouched by changing times, circumstances and activities. In his busy round of work, Dr. Raman had not noticed that Gopal had not called in for over 3 months now. He only remembered it when he saw Gopal's son sitting on a bench in the consulting hall one crowded morning. The doctor rushed off straight from the clinic to his friend's house in Lawley Extension. Gopal laid in bed as if in sleep. His wife told that he has been in bed for a month and a half. But she did not wish to trouble the doctor unnecessarily, and therefore she had not informed him. The doctor checked Gopal and got up and said, "I will be back in a few minutes." He picked up his bag and went to his car. In a quarter of an hour, he was back, followed by an assistant and a nurse. He told Gopal's wife that he was going to perform an operation. At about 8 in the evening, the patient opened his eyes and stirred slightly in bed. The doctor sent away the assistant and sat beside the patient. At about 11, the patient opened his eyes and smiled at his friend. He showed a slight improvement. He was able to take in a little food. Then the patient motioned a finger to draw him nearer and whispered, "I must know how long I am going to last. I must sign the will. It is all ready. Ask my wife for the dispatch box. You must sign as a witness." The patient said to the doctor, "Ramu, it's my good fortune that you are here at this moment. I can trust your word. I can't leave my property unsettled. This will mean endless misery for my wife and children. You know all about Subhi and his gang." Doctor walked off to his car, sat in the back seat and reflected. He looked at his watch, midnight. If the will was to be signed, it must be done within the next 2 hours or never. He could not be responsible for a mess there. If he asked him to sign the will, it would mean a death sentence and destroy the 1,000th part of a chance that the patient had of survival. The doctor got down from the car and went in. This was the first time he was going to do a piece of acting before a patient. He said to the patient, "Don't worry about the will now. Your heart is absolutely sound." The patient believed, "If it comes from your lips, it must be true." On his way home, the doctor stopped for a moment at his hospital, called out his assistant and said, "That Lawley extension case, you might expect the collapse any second now. Go there with a tube of this in hand and give it in case the struggle is too hard at the end. Hurry up." That means the doctor also was not confident about the patient. But next morning the miracle happened. The patient was awake and looked very well. The doctor said in mind, "How he has survived this attack will be a puzzle to me all my life. Thank you, God." Now read the passage and answer the questions. Today, standing over a bed, the doctor felt that he himself needed someone to tell him soothing lies. He mopped his brow with his kerchief and sat down in the chair beside the bed. On the bed lay his dearest friend in the world, Gopal. They had known each other for 40 years now, starting with their kindergarten days. They could not, of course, meet as much as they wanted, each being wrapped in his own family and profession. Occasionally, on a Sunday, Gopal would walk into the consulting room and wait patiently in a corner till the doctor was free. And then they would dine together, see a picture, and talk of each other's life and activities. It was a classic friendship which endured untouched by changing times, circumstances, and activities. In his busy round of work, Dr. Raman had not noticed that Gopal had not called in for over 3 months now. He only remembered it when he saw Gopal's son sitting on a bench in the consulting hall one crowded morning. Dr. Raman could not talk to him for over an hour. When he got up and was about to pass on to the operating room, he called up the young man and asked, "What brings you here, sir?" The youth was nervous and shy. "Mother sent me here." "What can I do for you?" "Father is ill." It was an operation day and he was not free till 3 in the afternoon. He rushed off straight from the clinic to his friend's house in Lawley Extension. Now say whether the following are true or false. The patient that Dr. Raman was attending to that day was Gopal's son. False. Dr. Raman was 35 years old. False. Why did Dr. Raman go to Gopal's house? One day, when Dr. Raman was on his busy rounds, he noticed that Gopal's son was sitting on a bench in the crowded consulting hall. Then Doctor remembered that Gopal had not called in for over 3 months now. When Doctor was about to pass on to the operating room, he called to the young man and asked what had brought him there. Nervously, the youth said that his mother had sent him there because his father was ill. Dr. Raman had an operation that day, so after completing that, he rushed off straight from the clinic to Gopal's house to see him. Next, comment on the friendship of Dr. Raman and Gopal. Dr. Raman was a well-known doctor having reputation in society, while Gopal was an ordinary person. But even then, they were together since their childhood days. In all these years, many activities took place, many changes took place in their lives, but even then, their friendship remained constant. Once a month, they used to meet together and talk about each other's life. So really, it was an example of a classic friendship. Rapid Reading 3. If I Were You. This is a one-act play full of suspense and drama. There are two characters, Gerard and the intruder. It is the intruder's plan to kill Gerard and take his place. As Vincent Charles Gerard, he will be free to go places and do things. He will never again be afraid at the sight of a cop, that is, police. The intruder boasts that he is the top of the class in his field. He says that he has brains and uses them. He claims that is how he has got where he has. Gerard realizes that the intruder is a dangerous and desperate criminal and that he could possibly kill him. Gerard plays for time by making the intruder talk about himself. He encourages him to do so by saying that he, that is the intruder, has been very modest about himself. The intruder was playing a game of hide and seek with the cops because he had done a job in town. Things went wrong and he had plucked a cop. Ever since he was on the run. Gerard explained to the intruder that he himself was a crook. As far as he was concerned, the game was up. He was expecting trouble. His bag was packed and he was ready to clear off. Gerard convinces the intruder that he too is a crook, eluding the police. He tells the intruder to come along with him and escape. If he made any false move, the intruder could use his gun. He tells the intruder that he is expecting a call from a man posted on the main road to alert him about the arrival of the police. Just then the telephone bell rings. Gerard convinces the intruder to go through a door straight into the garage. As it happens, it is the door of a cupboard. Gerard pushes the intruder into the cupboard and calls for the police. And thus, he becomes successful in saving him. Now read the passage and answer the questions. Intruder: I happen to know that you never see tradespeople. Gerard: you seem to have taken a considerable amount of trouble. Since you know so much about me, won't you say something about yourself? You have been so modest. Intruder: I could tell you plenty. You think you are smart, but I'm the top of the class round here. I have got brains and I use them. That's how I have got where I have. Gerard: and where precisely have you got? It didn't require a great brain to break into my little cottage. Intruder: when you know why I have been broken into your little cottage, you will be surprised, and it won't be a pleasant surprise. Gerard: with you figuring so largely in it, that is understandable. By the way, what particular line of crime do you embrace, or aren't you a specialist? Intruder: my specialty is jewel robbery. Your car will do me a treat. It is certainly a dandy bus. Gerard: I'm afraid jewels are few and far between in the wilds of Essex. Intruder: so are the cops. I can retire here nicely for a little while. Now complete the following. The intruder happens to know that Gerard never sees ... tradespeople. The intruder claims that when Gerard knows why he has broken into his little cottage, he will be ... surprised. Where is Gerard's cottage located? Gerard's cottage is located in the wilds of Essex. What does the intruder say about himself? The intruder says that he has brains and he uses them. He continues, he is a specialist in jewel robbery. Next, describe an incident where you used your wit. Last year, when I was sitting in our balcony and studying, I noticed that two robbers have entered in a flat which is in front of me in another apartment. A woman was all alone in that apartment and they were asking for the keys. They could not see me, so taking the advantage of the situation, I dialed number 100 and called the police, and the robbers were caught. Everybody praised me a lot.